Call our meeting to order. We appreciate all of you that are here this morning. We thank you for your presence. At this particular time, I'm going to ask Mr. Tom Broyles to lead us in our morning invocation. Then Commissioner Kuykendall will lead us in our pledge. Mr. Broyles.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning in prayer, thanking you for another day that you've given to us. Lord, we lift up our state to you today, Lord, as you know the things that have been going on and what has transpired in the last few days. And we just pray for your guidance and direction on our new governor. I ask that you just touch her, lead, guide, and direct her in all the decisions that she makes and things that she does. And Lord, just see us through this time. Lord, we know that there's better times ahead. Lord, I lift up this body of commissioners to you here this morning. Lord, as they sit here and meet, take care of the business of the county, I pray that you touch them. Lord, just guide and direct their decisions that they make. Lord, I pray that they would represent those who have elected them in a way that's pleasing to you and pleasing to those who have elected them to this office. We just thank you, Lord, for all that you've done for us as we look toward this Easter weekend. Lord, I just pray that you just fire on our hearts and minds about the great thing that we're celebrating this weekend. Lord, keep us in your will, guide and direct us in all we do. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Broyles. Mr. Kuykendall.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Thank you, Mr. Broyles. Thank you, Mr. Kuykendall. If any of you have a telephone that is not on silent, please put it on silent. Again, we welcome you to our meeting this morning. We appreciate your presence. First item of business on our agenda is to approve our minutes. Gentlemen, you've received them in a written format. Is there any change that needs to be made in? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve them as you receive them? Your second. Motion second. In discussions, minutes favored, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objections. First item on the agenda today is let me just say this, Commissioner Jackson is not here with us today. He's having a new granddaughter today, and so they are there at that event that's taking place, I'm assuming, about as we speak, so we want to remember them. First item on our agenda is ACCA recognition. Many years ago when I was, or not many years ago, but many years ago when I was first elected to office, and over those years I served as president of the Alabama County Commissioners Association. We developed a program during that time that was, according to Auburn's educational system, applied through the legislature for training and different programs, not only for county commissioners, but also for correctional employees. And I'm honored today to receive notification that Miss Tiffany Graham has successfully completed the required course of study approved by the Alabama Jail Training Academy and was awarded on the 7th day of March 2017. Tiffany, we congratulate you. We appreciate it. If you will, come up and we'll present you with this certificate. Sheriff, if the rest of y'all would come, if the press would like to get a picture, why, please just come around up here. And move this back.
There you go.
We thank you for your service, and we appreciate your dedication, not only to our county, but to law enforcement and DeKalb County Sheriff's Department. Thank you so much. Good. Thank you. This is a program that's been very successful over the state, and I'm happy to have been a part in developing it, and it's been something that is needed, and we continue to make improvements along that line every year, and we appreciate the dedication of people like Tiffany who have dedicated themselves to this type of work, and not only in our county but also in our state. Next item is Road Department Maintenance Update. Mr. Broyles.
Good morning. Don't really have a lot new to update you on. I will mention something that I intended to mention at the last meeting. I'm getting old. I can't remember too good, and I make notes, but now I'm forgetting that I've made a note, so it don't really help anything. I'm going to have to come up with something better than that. But we had talked a few meetings back about the storm damage from the tornadoes. You know, we had one up in the Ider area, kind of in the west part of Ider that came through, the one that did so much damage in Jackson County. We have got that debris cleaned up. We had it went about 3 weeks ago, and it went up there and worked about 2 days and got all of it cleaned up. It was just minimal. A lot of it had already been taken care of. There was not any construction debris in it. It was just vegetative debris. There ended up being about 20 loads of it, and we just hauled that to our church pit at Collinsville and dumped it down there. We have a place where we dump brush from time to time, and also City of Collinsville occasionally carry some up there in dumps. We just decided to carry it down there rather than try to come to some agreement with a property owner. Jackson County had a guy that owned some property, and they had worked a contract out with him to dispose of theirs, but it was we were either going to have to burn it and then go back and sift through it and remove what didn't burn and dispose of it, or pay him to do it. So we just decided no more than there was of it, just to take it down there and dump it, and we'll burn it one of these days. We're just dumping it in a big hole down there, really, in that it may rot before we ever need to burn it. So we did get that cleaned up, and as I said, there was just a minimal amount of it. It really didn't end up being as much as I thought there would be. But as far as an update now, I really don't have much new. We're still sending our patch trucks out every day. Have crews in the districts that are hand patching every day. We are probably going to get started on our first round of our herbicide application sometime toward the end of this month, and I'm sure some of the crews will probably be starting to mow sometime about the first of next month, or maybe toward the end of this month. But I think a lot of them are trying to run their bush cutters right now and do some bush cutting on some unpaved roads and things like that. We're still hauling chert basically every day. We're hauling out into District 2 right now on some roads that they have, and that's about all we have going on right now. If you have any questions, I'll answer those for you.
Any questions concerning the report? Any of it? If not, Mr. Broyles, thank you for your report. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Hearing none, we move to the third item, which is surface treatment bid award. Mr. Luther.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Last week we opened our bids for our annual surface treatments that we do every year. Each of you should have the bid tabulations there. Received one bid again this year from Charlie Watts. You can see the prices here, and on the far right are the last year's prices and then the percent change for this year. So we did see a typical minimum increase for each item. This is set up a little bit different this year because of the examiner's interpretation of public works law and how that's being applied to this type of work. So you see there's a dollar figure on this of approximately $450,000. Public works is a little different than the competitive bid. We have to do bid bonds, so you have to have some kind of dollar figure. So you either have to have some known amounts that you can make an estimate on, or you have to set some kind of dollar figure to work on. So that's why we took our typical, or your budgets that you have for the paving and some other work that we're anticipating to come up with this $450,000 of potential work. It doesn't have to be this. It may be less. It may be more. but this was the best way that I could come up to make it fit the Public Works law the way I felt like it needed to. So that's why it's a little bit different. We'll have to do things a little different as far as invoicing. We'll have to hold some retainage. You have to do the notice once it's all complete. So it's much more restrictive than we've done in the past. So work's not going to change. It's just in paperwork and making sure that the law's followed. So again, if any questions on any of these items?
Any question concerning the opening of the bids?
Was there any of the new paperwork and some new issues from the law that caused these to go up?
It's
All the extra cost is in certified,
well, that's the only thing that really changed. I mean, it's still a competitive sealed bid like we always have. It's mainly in the advertising. You have to advertise Public Works law. You have to advertise local. If it's over $500,000, you have to advertise statewide. And then there's other things like a bid bond. There has to be a bid bond, and then you have to do these other additional things. So it's really more of a paperwork burden than anything, but that has nothing to do with these prices. No.
all of us know that we still got the same results that we've been getting.
Right, and these increases are typical over these. Since we've been doing it, you're going to get a 3 to. Some of them in the past have been more than this, but this is a fairly standard increase that we've seen typically every year.
Which one of these triple grades was the one that was used on the road?
There's not any triple. There's not a triple on this. Mr. Wooten. Mr. Wooten. No, there's not a triple on this.
What is the AJG? I know what a JG is.
The A is a prime. That's just the liquid prime that seals like a dense grade. We typically don't do those because we're not really building new roads. You don't really do that because you have to keep traffic off of it. But it's an item that we've always bid. But yeah, there's not a triple on this. And actually, I probably just forgot. I think we had talked about, or I'd thought of putting it on, and then I forgot. This one kind of snuck up on me this year because we're a little bit out of sync from when we typically do it.
We have to solicit the bid for that particular treatment before we proceed with utilizing.
We could just get him to provide us a quote for it. Since it's not particularly on here, I believe we can.
Go ahead and get that quote.
Okay. And this is for any road in the county. Of course, he did, over the last several years, he has had a bid exception where he will not honor these prices for municipal roads. So if you have any of the towns or cities, that come to you and say, hey, we'd like to use this bid, he's not going to do that. They have to get their own bid for their particular streets. So just if you would keep that in mind, if you have some of the cities coming to you and wanting us to do some work with this, he's going to request them to get their own quote.
Several years we did that.
Right, yes.
But that's not.
But it'd be my recommendation that we make this award to Charlie Watts based on these prices.
Any question concerning the recommendation? If not, I'll hear a motion we honor his request. Hear a second. Motion second in discussion. As many as favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Let the record state it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luke. Revenue Commission personnel, Mr. Wilkes.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Just a couple of quick things. I had back several months ago, Jody Evanson had retired or resigned. We had filled that spot as far as the open vacancy that we had, but we had not promoted anybody into her role. Since that time, Angie Pask has been training to take on that role. And at this point, we feel like she's kind of achieved that. She's completed her training on everything, and basically it'd just be a promotion to move her from her current grade. I think she's at a G5. It will move her up to a G6A. So,
Gentlemen, you hear, Mr. Is that the only one you've got?
as far as personnel, it is. Yes.
Gentlemen, you hear Mr. Wilkes' recommendation. Any question concerning that? If Here, if not, do I hear a motion we honor his request? Hear a second? Motion second in discussion. As many in favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Go ahead.
Second thing we had, as far as the, had been looking at doing some work there out front of the revenue office to kind of help with our handicap parking situation. I think at one time we probably had some clear striping and probably some signage up, things like that, but over time that's kind of withered away and things like that. So we've kind of looked at doing some different things out front there, removing the parking bumpers. I had gotten a quote from Sam Construction to do that work, and it was replacing some of the bad asphalt that we've got out front and replacing it with concrete, and then utilizing some of our existing concrete, coming back with a 5-foot sidewalk to go in front of the building. That'll get rid of our parking bumpers, which are constantly getting hit and bumped around, and they're never kind of sitting where they're supposed to be at any rate. So putting out some new signage and new striping. And so wanted to bring that before the commission this morning to try to see if we can get approval on that to proceed with that work.
What kind of money are we talking about?
The quote was for $14,800 from Sam Construction.
Gentlemen, you hear that? Any comment, any question about it?
Yeah, before we do that, did Janice cost figures on the upgrade of the security camera?
Yes, I do. To upgrade on the security cameras was through Halt Security Services. Heath had got that for me. The quote from them, and it came with a 10-year warranty. There was two quotes they did. One was a little less, but it didn't come with a warranty. It was like for one camera. So if we have one camera go bad in a 10-year time frame, it would pay for the warranty. And so I picked the one with a 10-year warranty on that. Was $86,25.43 was the total for the security camera work. So that's something that we'll need eventually, and that's kind of
No, but you don't need it now.
I don't need it now. I think we can get by with that. As far as, because we currently have 4 security cameras. It's not what we would like ultimately, but like I said, that's just kind of what y'all think on that. Like I said, we have something that we can get by with for the time being. So,
Excuse me, if it's all right, we'll take that under advisement. That's
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Wood. I'm sorry.
So the parking's all we're talking about.
the parking, and then the other thing that I had was the door locks. And that was through Halt Security also. Just putting a magnetic door lock on our rear entrance door. Currently, I've got about 5 employees that have keys. Those keys are easily duplicated. Anybody could steal one and run to Lowe's, and they'd have a key to our building. So in order to upgrade that security and stuff, we wanted to get the magnetic locks where it comes with the code and program. I think it's similar to what y'all have in the commission office now. So it would just be upgrading that one door, and it was $2663.15 was the total for that work. So.
Magnetic door lock for, I think, necessity, utility, size, try to restrict it, safety standpoints. I would hope to do that as soon as possible. The other work in front of the buildings is necessary as well. I move that we authorize the upgrade repairs to be done to the front of the building and also the installation of magnetic door locks.
Thank you, Mr. Cockendall. Do I hear a proper second? Motion second in discussion concerning the motion. Many in favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sheriff's Office Personnel, Mr. Edmonds.
Good morning.
Morning.
We would like to ask y'all if you would hire Lee Meadows and Eric Sorson. They're replacing 2. They're full-time corrections officers. They're replacing 2 that we announced last week that was resigning.
This is the only 2 you have, Mr.
I've got 2 other resignations.
Okay. Let's do all that at one time.
Okay. We want to accept Kyle Wright's resignation. His last day will be tomorrow, and also he's from the jail, and Amelia Wills from dispatch. Her resignation will be effective the 16th.
Okay. Any question concerning the resignation and the filling of the vacant position? If not, do I hear a motion on his request? Your second. Motion second in discussion. Amendment is favorable, let it be known by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Go ahead with your surplus.
Also, we have 9 vehicles that are up in behind the county barn that we're going to be able to, they'll be scrap sold. They're either wrecked or the motor's out, transmission's out, something to that effect. We have 9 of those, and also we have 3 that we're going to sell in a sale that we're going to have over at the office here in the next month or so. We'd ask the office surplus those vehicles.
This is requesting that we declare this merchandise surplus. Any question about that? If not, do I hear a motion we honor his request? Hear a second? Motion second. Second, Mr. Westbrook. In discussion? This amendment is favorable, let it be known by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edmonds. Council on the Aging and Training, Mr. Sharp.
Ms. Brewer requested that herself and Glenda Crumley attend the Transportation Spring Conference that's scheduled the latter part of April.
Okay. Any question concerning that? If not, to hear a motion, we honor the request. Your second? Motion second, in discussion. This amendment is favorable, let it be known by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Item 7 is DHR appointment. We've had a resignation or a term that's been fulfilled on that, and the current member did not want to be reappointed, and Ms. Kathy Clifton has requested to be considered, and I would just make the recommendation that Ms. Clifton, with her experience in this kind of an area, and it's agreeable to the DHR board, I would recommend that Ms. Clifton be appointed to this position. Is there any question about that? If not, do I hear a motion? Hear a second? Motion second, in discussion. This amendment is favorable, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Let me just say this before we adjourn. Last week, during our inclement weather situation, I did close the courthouse and this office at lunchtime during that time. I'm thankful that we didn't have any damage. We dodged a bullet, thankfully. The emergency operations center downstairs was fully in operation. I was there and in and out, and we're just thankful that we didn't have any weather that affected us in an adverse way, but we appreciate everybody's cooperation and everybody's standby status. They were there, and to Tom, EMA, and law enforcement, we thank all of you for that, and hopefully it's not a question of if but when, but anyway, we'll hopefully see those things pass us by again. We're thankful for that today. Thank you again for what you did during that time. That concludes our agenda for today. Our next meeting will be April 25th here in the chambers. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? And without objection, it's so ordered. Thank you for being here today.